Oh, hey! Hello there. Welcome to the show there, fellow makers and wonderful prop tarts down in the chat. It's Prop Live Q&A, and we've got another wonderful guest. In fact, we have two guests with us this week, twice the value. We have Beverly and Heather from Epoch Echo, and they are fellow Pacific Northwesters just down in Portland, and they're here to hang out with you guys for the next hour and answer some awesome prop costume making questions. But first, I want to know, well, I know what you guys have been up to because I've been keeping an ear to the ground, but why don't you let the folks know at home know what sort of cool projects you've been working on?
Okay.
There's one in the just over your shoulder, the black and green one there. I don't want to direct your answer, but that's something really cool that I think the folks at home want to see.
A little thing I've been working on for a while, for months now. This is crazy, Bill. This is the longest project I've ever worked on. But this is Hela from Thor Ragnarok, and I think I'm like 4 months into making this thing.
Oh my gosh!
Oh man,
it's been a long build. So the next thing I'm going to build is going to involve a paper bag and probably some cheesecloth.
It's gonna be the simplest costume ever.
Yeah, but I've been having a lot of fun with it. I've learned so much. I had to learn a lot of things that I couldn't find out online, so I had to do a lot of testing. So that was pretty much what I spent most of my time doing. The last month or so has been actually putting it together, which has been really nice. Because now it feels like it's going a little bit faster. Like maybe I'll finish it for Emerald City. Hopefully, yeah.
That would be really cool to see.
Yeah.
I'm working on Valkyrie. So instead of the Valkyrie, I'm one of the Valkyrie. In that white and gold getup she wears at some point in the movie, and it's going. I'm laminating a chess piece with vinyl.
Oh my!
Yeah,
it's gonna be so awesome.
It's coming out really well.
And then we get to battle.
That's going to be really cool. What I really like, one of the many things I really liked, recently you put out a video making a mold, but you weren't making a flexible mold to cast rigid pieces out of. You were doing the opposite, and
Yes.
I thought was very clever. You want to explain a little bit about that process?
Yes, I have some examples here.
You brought some show and tell?
We have visual aids.
We're kind of on my workspace right now, so or my kitchen, dining room. All right, I'll just show you this big thing. Okay, so here's one. So all of the pieces on Hela are made out of silicone because they have to stretch with the bodysuit. So I used resin to make the molds for the silicone. So that way I don't have to use mold release on a silicone mold. So I don't have to wash it. I can paint it because I've been weathering the pieces as well with silicone paint. So this was it was a good way for me to do it. And then it was a little less expensive too, I think, instead of buying a whole bunch of silicone. Because, you know, if I had forgotten just once to use the mold release, then that whole mold would be toast.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, silicone, the only thing that silicone will bond to is other silicone.
Yeah.
So your molds then are just mold Smoothcast 300, right?
Yeah.
Rigid.
Yeah. And
They're awesome.
yeah, that whole process was really fun. Actually, I was talking to Hannah over at Smooth On, and she helped me kind of figure out how to do this because I wasn't sure exactly what to do because I didn't want to deal with 500 pounds of silicone molds when this is all done.
Yeah.
So she said, well, you know, if you do it in plastic, then, you know, that would work too. Like, well, that actually is perfect. But one thing I did have to experiment a lot with was when you pour resin on top of anything that isn't really made for
Plastic.
yeah, it's going to bond to pretty much everything. And I did a bunch of tests. I tested it with Epsilon Pro. I tested it with like a ton of mold release. I tested it with Vaseline. I tested it with all sorts of stuff. The only thing that worked was using a really, really thin layer of silicone, like thin dragon skin silicone on my pieces. which actually would have saved me a lot of time, like sanding down the edges, because the silicone, once I put that super thin layer on top of everything, really rounded everything out for me already. So I didn't really need to spend a day sanding all of the edges of all these teeny tiny little pieces. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, I mean, it's like
they're like little mazes.
I have 16 molds, and I counted all the pieces the other day. It's like 86 little pieces.
Oh, geez.
All bearing in them and like.
Yeah. Yeah, the suit's going to be pretty heavy when it's all done, but it's going to be cool.
For those watching at home, if you want to get a little bit more of an in-depth look into this, then there's a wonderful video over on the Epoch Echo YouTube channel. Of course, we'll link to that. You guys can head on over there. You should subscribe. I imagine you plan on doing more videos.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. That was another thing I've been learning the last few months. Is
video
how to
editing.
do video. Yeah.
That's actually, I want to ask you then, because I do that a lot. When you started doing more video stuff during the making process, what did you find the most challenging change you had to make when you're recording everything and editing it for the internet? What was the most difficult thing to keep in mind while you're filming?
Continuity.
Yeah.
Like just remembering to turn, because I would have at least a couple of cameras on all the time.
Yeah.
So I learned to give myself I have a little whiteboard, so I do my like a scene 2 or like this sucks or like once again for the 15th time. So there's that, and then figuring out the best way to do the audio, like syncing up the audio. So I had a lot of syncing problems, and then I record so much. I record way too much.
I have all of these little like snippets of video that I try to like piece together, and I get very frustrated very quickly.
And I tend to say a lot, and that drives me crazy.
I have a similar thing. I can't stand hearing myself breathe, and
Right.
I don't know why, but I'll be editing a video and I'll say something, and then in the video I'm like the loudest, most terrible breath ever, and I'm like, we'll just go ahead and cut that out. People at home don't need to see that.
Well, when you do your voiceover video, do you use a snowball with a whatever that diffuser thing? I don't think that's what that's called, but
no,
I
I record either with a shotgun mic on my camera, or I have these little lav mics.
Oh.
Oop, I just punched this microphone. So I just, the lav mic is actually a lot better at not picking that stuff up, but the shotgun mic, since it's pointed right at my face, grabs everything I do. If you have a little nose whistle too, like if you're plugged up a little bit, and it's just like a little, every so often there's a nose whistle, I'm like, ah!
Well, that's one way to keep everyone engaged and like awake during it.
Yeah.
Feels pretty heavy today.
Well, I, for one, am excited to see more awesome tutorial videos from you guys. Once again, everybody, look up Epoch Echo on YouTube. Go subscribe. In fact, I will link to them right now. And everyone at home can go subscribe, which means you're obligated to make more videos now. That's how it works.
Yes, we have like a huge list of videos. Every time we're like, oh, this looks really cool.
Yeah.
Let's tell people how to do this. Yeah, we want to show everyone how to do all the things we do. So
so much video.
And we just need
so
the
much
time.
We do,
and some clones. Yeah.
Yep, I feel you. Also, you guys have your Facebook page. I'll show the folks at home. You got some really cool, looks like almost daily progress photos, especially like I was saying, the Hela costume. I've been following with much interest, and it's really coming together. So, also, if you guys are at home or into Facebook, head on over to Epoch Echo on Facebook. Give them a like over there, and keep an eye on how that's going to come together.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Heather's right in the middle of very carefully bonding some vinyl onto her.
It's nerve-wracking. It's nerve-wracking. I was last night like, pray for me, please, because oh my gosh,
is that all barge?
It's all so. I'm using barge. I'm using contact cement to essentially laminate vinyl onto this breastplate, and it's coming together really, really well. My seams kind of suck, but it's they're in places I'm going to hide them, so that's okay. I'm liking the way that the chest armor is coming out. It makes me very enthusiastic
so awesome
for the rest of it.
I think anytime you can cover foam with some other material, it just makes it kind of interesting.
Paint a lot less.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah, I only have to paint a little bits, and that's kind of awesome.
It sounds like Core Geek is in the chat here calling you out. No sanding, slacker.
Well, his recent posts have been, I sand, I die. I sand again.
That's
yeah,
true.
I think we're gonna have to add that to our shirt.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Hey Patches in the chat. He says that silicone does bond pretty well to brand new pants.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, because they're brand new.
Please tell me, Patch, how do you know that?
Yeah, pictures or it's not true.
Real quick here, I want to jump in and let everyone know who's watching. If you have a question, prop and costume making related technique question or otherwise, then you can submit those questions for us to answer over at punishprops.com/live. We've got a little form there for you to fill out, a little thing to prove you're not a robot. But if you're a robot that can read CAPTCHA codes, then we won't discriminate. You can hang out with us. Anyway, go on over there, submit your questions, and then we will start answering them here pretty soon. Let's see. What else did I have on my list of cool things to talk about?
Mostly all this lady.
I've been working behind the scenes.
I've been working on a mini Wonder Woman. We'll talk about that.
Oh, a mini Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
How many are you talking about?
She's 9
Yeah.
or 10, I think. She's adorable. She's about the same size as my youngest son, and he's been my guinea pig.
That's great.
He hates every second of it, but he tolerates it really well.
I also wanted to point the folks over to your duct tape dummy tutorial video, which is something we haven't done yet, and we don't have to because you guys covered it so well.
Hey.
So, once again, more value over on the YouTube channel.
I think that was one of our first. I think that was the first one we ever made.
That is the first video. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
We posted.
that's a question we get pretty frequently. People ask, "How do I start making templates for my costume stuff?" So, starting with a duct tape dummy or some sort of body form is a really great place to start because you can start patterning off of that. So, again, go hang out. We'll put links to all this stuff in the show notes. You guys can go check out the wonderful tutorials. Speaking of Thor Ragnarok specifically.
Yes.
I did not put out a video this week, but my wife Brittany did.
Oh my God! I saw it today, and it is amazing. She's
God.
goddess.
So
That thing is incredible.
That lady's amazing.
So what I love about wonderful movies like Thor Ragnarok is that you can see something awesome from it. Obviously, you saw the Hela's outfit, and you're like, I have to make that. But Brittany's reaction was she saw that giant skull, the Surtur skull, and she said, I have to make that. I like that people can have such a different, amazing reaction to a movie and make these things that are just ridiculous. Like no person should ever attempt to do it. But you guys did it. And Brittany made a giant skull. Whoops. And I'm playing music. A giant skull made out of foam. Of course it's made out of foam. That's how we roll around here. So that's our new video this week. If you want to learn how to do that, Britt also made full foam templates, and people have already started making their own.
God. That is so cool. I love the way that her method for patterning all of that out. That was really cool to see. And she took a picture of it from above, and then. Oh my God, that's brilliant.
If you guys want to know specifically what we're talking about, head on over and watch the video. It's really great stuff. I wanted to head on over to the Prop Tarts Facebook page real quick because I'm pretty sure someone was posting their progress. Yeah, let's see here. Ben has started building his own Surtur skull. So there's all his pieces. And he made a bit of an update there. It's got the horns coming together. Looking really good. He's one of several people who have started building it already, which is really exciting.
So cool.
I'm excited to see all those skulls.
Yeah, it would be pretty great Travis here has started one as well. It'd be pretty great if we could get a bunch of them to show up at like Emerald City Comic Con.
Oh my god!
Yes. I want that to happen really badly right now.
It's not a costume per se, but it'd still be great if they all showed up.
First out of it, seriously, put your cell phone in it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I want to. We don't know what to do with it because it's in our shop now and it just takes up a ton of space. We were thinking maybe hood ornament on the car.
Yeah.
Put it right on the front grill.
You could make a backpack out of it, like Thor wears it.
Yeah.
Or wear that around.
I might have to make some chains then, I guess.
Definitely.
Out of frame, right?
Foam chain.
Foam chains, yeah. What else would I make my chains out of? Let's see here. Actually, I had an idea for molding and casting chain links, but I have to do some testing to see if I can make it work. Let me see. I think that's all I had. Was there anything else? Any other projects or stuff you guys want to talk about before we dive into questions?
Well, I mean, Wonder Woman, I guess.
Oh yeah.
So she's 9. We were talking about her.
Yep.
She's adorable, and I took on, prior to working on Valkyrie, I took on a commission to make this tiny little Wonder Woman replica, and I'm actually really proud of my paint job.
It's coming out awesome.
It came out a lot better than my first version, so I'm really excited to see her in it. She's got all the pieces of it right now, except for one last one that I've got to do a little bit of adjusting to, but this is also tied to our initiative for Amazon Sisters of Themyscira.
Yeah.
And bringing together a group of women, like prop and costume makers, and having a support group around that, and all of the Amazons, and how strong and beautiful they all are.
Yeah, so we've been making some patterns and trying to give all that to our ladies. Like, just make the things and go to your cons and go to your events and just walk around your house and be amazing and be an Amazon.
Be empowered.
It's been so cool. People are going in there. They're like hitting the gym a little harder and like having like different workouts so that they can be all like Amazon buff and encouraging each other. And yeah, that's been really awesome. Cool community.
I like that a lot. Is this the Wonder Woman armor that was recently posted on your Instagram?
Yes.
Awesome. It's hard to tell the scale of it. I wasn't sure if that was a...
Right. Like the pictures don't give you a good indication, but like it's literally like maybe that big.
It's so cute and tiny.
So little. And those legs that I gave her, holy cow, those greaves are so small.
I will point out that it's Heather used the pattern that she templated from her Wonder Woman costume that she wore at Emerald City last year.
Yeah, so I used our patterns that we created from that costume, and I just downsized them by 20%.
There you go.
Which is a tip. Yeah, if you're trying to make something bigger or smaller, putting them on the photocopier and increasing or decreasing by increments until you get it into a good spot. It's a good way to resize.
Google Chrome to do it in its print box. Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so when you're in Google Chrome, it'll give you a little indicator. You can say fit to page, or you can put in a percentage, and it'll automatically print it.
Oh, right.
I know.
Okay.
Learning things every day.
Awesome. Well, we've got some questions we're going to dive into here in just a moment. Real quick, everyone in the chat, which, by the way, our chat is bursting with talent right now. There is an astonishing number of wonderful people in the chat, and I thank you all for showing up and hanging out with us. If you guys have any question for us, anything at all, really, anything reasonable, throw it in punishprops.com/live. Send us a question, and we'll be happy to dive in. Other than that, I think we're ready to go with the first question from Utter Otter. How many costumes will the 4 of you be bringing to Emerald City Comic Con? That would be Bill, Britt, Beverly, and Heather.
I am bringing 3.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm. I think I'm bringing 3, maybe 4. I don't know. 3.
Ooh,
at least
might
3.
Be bringing 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's nice wishy-washy answer.
Yeah.
Utter.
That's right. I'm over here like, what do I want to commit to?
Yeah, right.
What I want to do, I haven't started it. Where's my pointer? My tank trooper helmet here needs a full set of armor. So I'm hoping I can build a whole set of armor for that and wear that. That's the only thing I have planned right now, and I haven't started it. So
you can do it.
Potentially 1.
Well, my costumes is store bought, and I'm not ashamed to say it. And Brett and I are gonna do Bob and Linda.
Oh, you're bringing Linda?
Yeah.
That's gonna be great.
I can't wait. So yeah, I've got a Spice Ups thing and he's got Spice. He's got Spice Ups, and I've got the Spice Rack. That's gonna be fun.
That's cool. I want to know, Utter Otter, how many costumes you're bringing to Emerald City. You can just respond in the chat. Let me know. And thank you for the question. I will probably. I have you can see the Mechanist helmet hiding over my shoulder too, so I might bring him too. We'll see. Let's see the next one. The Honest Cosplayer has a question, and there is a link. So let me open that real quick, and I can hopefully sort all this out. The question is, I've been working on a Queen Xenomorph or Xenomorph cosplay, and I finally had a chance to try it on. Boy, that is ambitious.
Wow, that's amazing.
How's that going?
Let's see. The mantle I sculpted out of pink foam is too heavy, 6.75 pounds. Yeah, any weight you put on your head is going to be murder on your neck. I need to engineer something to support the mantle on my shoulders. I have no idea where to start or what materials to use. I'd love to hear some ideas. So I've got I have a picture I have up on screen of what we're working with. But basically, it looks like it's pink insulation foam that's been coated in something like an epoxy. It's got a very shiny surface, but it is too heavy.
So how wide is, like, I imagine for the Xenomorph it goes back, right?
Yeah, it's like 3 feet from forehead to the back of the thing.
To support it on her shoulders?
Yeah. So something I wonder, I've never done this, but I've seen some people do this before, including I think Cos Armor's in the chat here. If you make something out of insulation foam and then coat it in an epoxy, you can then go in and you can scoop out the foam. The epoxy, if it's thick enough, will hold the shape. And maybe removing a bunch of that foam from the backside will reduce the weight a bit, potentially.
I would remove as much weight as you possibly can before you try to support it on your shoulders.
Yeah.
Because then you put it on your shoulders is going to be it's going to be right here. It's going to be part of your costume, and you're going to have to incorporate it somehow into, even if it's like right next to your ears, you're still going to have to do something. And then you have to hide all of this.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you can take all of that weight off somehow, or as much as you can, by scooping it out, definitely scoop it out.
I wonder. I don't know if this is a good solution or not, but I wonder if wearing a neck brace would help. It doesn't sound comfortable even a little bit.
If you had a little bit of stiff support that went further down the spine and the back that attached to the neck brace, then you would disperse the weight a little bit.
Yeah.
The other option, so now that you're thinking of it, so now that you've said that, and the thing with the shoulders, if you made something that hugged your shoulders right here, but then came around the back of your neck and went up the back. So you could help support that by essentially creating a back plate instead of a shoulder something.
Yeah.
And diffuse the weight that way. You'd still have to kind of hook onto your shoulders, but that would be a lot lower profile than something that's supporting it from here.
Yeah. I've got some pictures of neck braces up right now, and a lot of them do kind of come down over the shoulders. And I'm wondering if you could take that idea and just sort of remove some of the less necessary... Like, you don't need to completely keep your neck from moving, so you could lose some of that material. But good luck.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my gosh,
I look forward to seeing it done.
Yeah.
That's my favorite movie of all time is Aliens, the second one. That was...
I have to... So everyone's going to hate me, but I have to admit I have actually never watched Aliens. Because... And no zombies either, because I have a really overactive imagination, and I just would never sleep again ever.
Well, they're beautiful.
I've seen them. The artwork is amazing, but I can't watch them.
I would like to quickly point out... Oops. Hold on. My computer decided I needed to take a phone call. I just want to point out that Evil Ted is in the chat, and he has an emote that is a Bob Ross version of Evil Ted, and I think that's amazing.
Bill, did you see my Halloween costume this year? One of them. I was the Bob the Bob Ross of EVA foam.
I didn't.
I had a big.
She had the afro and everything.
I didn't see that, but I bet I can find a picture of that very quickly.
She did the artist palette with all the foam.
A big palette with the foam, and I made a big foam brush, and I had sandpaper as the paint pieces.
How could I not find this? I'm gonna have to find that.
Oh, I have the palette right over here.
Oh my goodness. I will dig that up at some point.
Oh, look, it's my E6000 that I've been using. Yeah, so... Yeah, I would go around to people's... Wait, how did I hold
Other hand, I think.
Ted, how do you do this? Anyway, I'll have to figure this out. Maybe I'll have 5 costumes. That was really fun to do.
Oh, you can't have any fun. Cosplay is all serious. All right, let's grab another question. Thank you, the honest cosplayer, and good luck with your xenomorph costume. Let's see here. Corium9 likes to ask if our guests ever have any hidden talents. For example, I can juggle, not well, but I can juggle 3 juggling balls. Do you guys, either of you, have a hidden talent? In fact,
I used to be a knitting instructor.
Oh, knitting? Knit?
Yeah. I used to write like clothing patterns for knitting.
Wow, that's handy.
Instructor.
Oh, you're an instructor. I did not know that. That's cool. Well, I knew that you were knitting, like doing you had a shop and everything. I know you're all teachery.
Wow.
Cool.
That's my hidden talent.
What's my hidden talent? I don't know.
She's really good. She picks something up and she knows how to do it immediately. So, I call that a hidden talent.
I can write in cursive backwards with my left hand.
Wow. Okay. No, that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not useful, but that's really cool.
No, yeah. I can write weird messages on mirrors, and that's about it. But even then, it still wouldn't look right.
No.
Yeah, it would still be backward.
Yeah, maybe one day that'll save me from doom.
Ultimate destruction?
Yeah. Sort of goony thing where I'm going through it, and I've got to write cursive backwards with my left hand.
Okay.
Corium9 also is curious about, he says, any plans on a Valkyrie equivalent of the Amazon Sisterhood? Not quite sure what that means.
I think based on the Valkyries as opposed to the Amazon.
Oh, actually, I got you, yeah.
Yeah, probably not at this time because we have so much going on, and the Amazon sisters actually do take a fair amount of energy, and so we're kind of focused on them right now. Although Valkyrie fits into that genre, and so we may eventually expand it just to include more people, so it's not just so generalized to that. On female warriors and being really specific in that way.
Yeah. We do have another group called Cosplayers of Valhalla that we started because we wanted to provide some support for people making all of the Thor costumes.
Right.
And that's been a really great resource for people to share reference pictures and tips and tricks and where'd you get that fabric and here's the link. And it's been really great. People want to share their processes.
It's my source for Valkyrie reference at the moment because it's
too.
what I pull up the first thing instead of Pinterest or anything else right now. I just go straight to that Facebook page.
And it's been really useful.
It helps out.
Awesome. Thank you for the question, Corium9. I'm going to pause for a moment, everyone. The video apparently is a bit laggy. I don't know why, and I don't know that there's anything we can do about it, so I apologize. But we're going to press forward and keep answering your questions.
Okay.
All right. Next one is from Carver. Curious, I get this one several times. How do you price your commissions fairly for both you and your client? After pricing out material and a shop fee, I find myself lowering my hourly labor cost more and more just to make the price more appealing. This is a pretty constant struggle among anyone who takes commission work.
Right. Well, the way that I look at it is that your time is valuable.
Mm-hmm.
and you need to make, if you want to make a living out of this, you need to replace a living wage. It needs to be more than minimum wage. Value yourself enough and your art enough to charge what you're going to charge. Sometimes people are going to balk at that, but if you set an expectation, eventually you're going to get it.
Yeah.
It also helps the rest of the community too that are trying to be prop makers and trying to make stuff. If everyone kind of charges what they deserve to get, rather than and those prices super low. And
now that doesn't preclude every now and again, if you get somebody and you're like, I just really want to put some art out there and make it work, then go ahead and do it, but make it worth your while.
Yeah. We've got some good resources you can check out. There's a video my buddy David Picciuto put out about how to price your work. His specific thing, the takeaway from that video, is to work with a day rate. Figure out how much money you need to make in a day, and never charge less than that, because pretty much any commission you take is going to take at least a day to work. And whether you split that up among a couple days, that's fine, because sometimes it's a small project. But what that means, what I found anyway, when I was doing lots of commissions, was that there was a limit below which I would never make any money. And for me, it was around $300. Even for a small thing, I would have to do research. I would have to draw blueprints. I'd have to make a master. I'd have to make a mold. I'd have to cast it, paint it, all that stuff. And it didn't matter how much the scale of it. There were all these things you have to do for each project. That meant any project I took that paid less than X amount, I just didn't make any money. So I could never charge less than that. Yeah, and I had to make the decision that not to take those, because that was my full-time job. There was no, oh, it's cool, I have a paycheck coming at the end of the week. If you're doing it for if you do have a paycheck coming at the end of the week, charge whatever you want. That's fine. But if you need to eat on that money,
you need to keep your shop space.
Yeah. So my advice is we'll link to this video if folks want to watch it at home, but figure out what your day rate is. Figure out how much you need to make in a day and charge accordingly, or per how many days a project is going to take. I also did a video. Brittany linked me this one about why custom commission props are so expensive. I thought that video was pretty good, but I also wrote and starred in it, so you may have a different opinion.
That's canon at this point.
Good advice. It's hard to value your own work, and so send someone a number that might seem a little high, but
that's why I'm all about value your own time. Like, seriously, value your own worth, because if you believe in your art, then other people will too.
What you may find is that the type of work you're doing and the type of people you're trying to sell it to just may not match. Which means you either have to do different work or find potentially different clients. Yeah,
we're structured a little differently. We transitioned to patterns after a while, because you make a pattern and you refine it and you can go back to it and you can change it, but meanwhile it's just sitting somewhere and it's available. And that's been a nice way for us to kind of transition from making a lot of commissions.
Now you're talking passive income, my favorite thing. If you guys watching at home want to get a little bit more into the business side of things, if you go to punishprops.com, under the social tab, there is a business talk page. Everything we've done about business or running a creative business is listed there, including a bunch of books I recommend reading and a bunch of videos I've done. So if you're looking to make some money with your craft, whether it's cosplay and prop making or any other creative endeavor, that's a really good resource with everything. Everything I know about doing this for a living lives there. So again, we'll link to that. You can go check it out and do your own research. Thank you so much for the question. That was good. Thank you. That was Carver. And again, we'll link to all of those resources in the show notes. Next question comes to us from Don. How much resin and epoxy do you use, and how fast do you go through them?
Well, that depends on what we're making.
Yeah.
This, like Hela, how much?
Hela took 2 gallon sets of resin to make all the molds. I have a little bit left, but that's a lot of resin.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think I was going to need that much, and then I started pouring it, and they're just,
volume gets out of control really quickly.
Yeah. So it was really important when I was making my mold boxes. I made them really weird shapes
to try and use
use a lot less material. I could have done a better job, but then I didn't want things to break if I dropped them.
Right.
More things that I learned along the way.
So this was a few projects ago when I was making the God Killer sword from the Wonder Woman movie, and I decided that I was going to make a master that was an entire sword and not in pieces. And I poured $400 worth of mold rubber, and it failed on me.
Oh no.
It's currently sitting in my garage waiting to be cubed up as filler.
Oh, that's so sad. And every time you do that, you just cry a little bit and then throw it in.
I think I put on a few years after that happened.
It would literally be cheaper to make a mold out of crumpled up $10 bills.
Yeah. Yes, actually. I learned a very, very expensive lesson.
Yep. So way back when I was doing a lot of molding and casting, if I was doing, let's say, a Mass Effect pistol, a 1 gallon kit of Smoothcast 300 got me about 5 Mass Effect guns. So like the Carnifex. And if I had a bunch of orders, I would go through that really fast in a day, easy. And that's like $100 worth of resin. So I would buy, now we actually have a local Reynolds down just south of me.
I'm so jealous.
Yep.
It's just close enough for us to drive where I can talk somebody into bringing some down.
Yeah, or when you come up for Emerald City Comic Con, stock up.
Ooh, but they're not open on the weekends. They aren't. Which is a bummer.
Oh, well, you're gonna have to come up on like Thursday. But they sell 5-gallon kits, and if I was doing a lot of casting now, and I have a local distributor, I would get a 5-gallon jug. Because I don't have to pay to ship it. That's a huge cost for that much liquid.
Oh.
I could just go pick it up, drag it into my shop, and then I'd be set for quite a while. I was
that is not outside getting cold or hot.
Yeah. I was down in LA at my buddy Frank Ippolito's shop, and he was doing, I think he had to make 300 trophies or something like that. They had, the floor was covered with empty 5-gallon drums of 326. It was astonishing.
Imagine the amount of money that went into
Yeah. So
that's a lot of plastic.
Yeah, things get out of, if you need to make a lot of anything, things get out of hand pretty quick. Thank you, Don. Very good question. Our buddy Hey Patch has a question. Thanks, Patch.
Hey, baby.
So he got little backstory. My helmet here, I printed that on the ANET A8 3D printer. My 3D printer was kind of a dud. Other people have had better experiences with it than me. Hey Patch got one. He seems to think his is awesome, and I'm very happy for you.
Are you talking about the CR10 that you have?
It's the ANET A8. It's a smaller, cheaper printer. Yeah, I wish I got the CR10. Trust me. Let's see here. So he upgraded the MOSFETs on it. Heats up and keeps getting hotter, ignoring the temperature target. Any suggestions? So he's talking about thermal runaway. And I've never experienced that before, so I don't know. But perhaps someone in the chat has more experience with that.
Yeah, I'm not a 3D printing guru. I have a 3D printer, and I stumble through it.
And I rely on her and my one other person to 3D print things for me.
Yeah, I have a few 3D printing friends that have the same machines as I do, and I always hit them up for questions when I have issues. But I don't do a lot of 3D printing. No.
Yeah, the problem is that there's so much that could be going on with the machine. The main board could be not sending the right signals to the MOSFETs or to your hot end. Like, there's so many places where it could be going wrong. I would say run the hot end off of the main board as it came or actually, Hey Patch is here. Did you try running the printer off of the hot end off the main board without the MOSFET, and did you have the same problem? Do you think that the MOSFET created the problem? Because that's what I would do. I would take things out of the system until it started working properly again. Then, if that's the case, then potentially the MOSFET is not wired correctly or faulty. That would be my guess. But I just described the limit of my of my knowledge when it comes to 3D printing.
You said that nothing to me. So I was like,
yeah, having a 3D printer like really just means you need to learn a lot more things in order to use this new tool, like your new shop tool.
Yeah, I do. I have a mini reciprocating saw. I know how to use this. I don't have to rewire anything. So yeah, good luck with that one. I would suggest taking the MOSFET out and wiring it as it was built out of the factory, and hopefully that fixes it, in which case the MOSFET was wired wrong or faulty. There we go. Let's move on. Thank you, Hey Patch. Good question. It sounds like in the chat people are saying that we are way ahead of them. So we're in the future.
cool. How do we manage that?
I don't know.
Lottery numbers,
right?
Let's grab another question. This is from Ice Master. I'm going to be starting my first costume with EVA foam, and I was wondering, what are your 5 favorite must-have tools for working with EVA foam? That's a great question.
The sharpest knife you can find.
Wow.
And a sharpener for that knife.
We use the OLFA or OF? Yeah, they're industrial strength snap blades for your utility blade. We use those. They're very, very sharp. They stay sharp a long time, and then you still sharpen them as often as you possibly can.
I have a big cutting mat that I got for sale at Joann's that I do everything on.
Yes, definitely
giant cutting mat.
So a cutting mat and a knife.
Yes,
there's 2.
This is my favorite thing.
An X-Acto knife is your friend.
Heat gun.
And a heat gun. And finally, but not least,
Sharpies.
Sharpies. Yes.
Is that what you're going to say?
No, I was going to say contact cement, but I'll say Sharpies.
That's like more than 5.
I know.
Was it 5 or was it 10? Because we could probably keep going.
We could keep going. You need a lot of tools, but ultimately, if you're just starting out, you need just a few things. Those 5 would be where you start.
How about a rotary tool? Did you say rotary tool?
Yeah. We didn't.
If you're feeling dangerous. Yeah, rotary tool is always.
But if you get a rotary tool and you're doing anything with EVA foam, you then also need a mask.
Yep, dust mask at least.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I would add. I think you guys pretty well covered it.
Sort of.
That's my problem. I'm like, well, obviously you need a mini reciprocating saw. This thing is insane.
It was a really tough project.
My new favorite tool is my belt sander.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. I love it. I love it so much. Although I don't have like a dust collection system yet so my dust collection system is a big piece of cardboard, like at the end of the, where the belt sander stuff.
Where it spits all the stuff out.
So it doesn't go all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Just goes all over that.
You guys mentioned knives too, and I would be remiss if I did not point out that I made a video about knives recently. So if you want to know about knives and sharpeners, then go watch that video. I think it's pretty good. I need a shirt. We've decided I need a shirt that says I have a video for that.
Yes. I know what to bring you for Emerald City now. we have crickets and vinyl transfers.
Oh yeah. Ooh, crickets. Crickets are cool.
Yeah, they are.
One. Not just for quilting and scrapbooking.
It's not grandma's machine these
so
days.
All of the molds that I made for
oh my God.
So this is one of my molds that I made for Hela. This is 2 millimeter adhesive back foam that I got from Joann's. Now TNT covered has these, but I cut all of my pieces out on a Cricut. So you just design them in Illustrator or whatever you use, and then you can cut them all out. And so that way I kept everything really clean. I don't consider that cheating because I had to learn how to use that tool.
That's right.
But it was awesome.
It has a little design space that you can use, and it goes off of JPEGs too. So it's as simple as just sitting there and outlining something really quick and then throwing it through the cutter. And
they're pretty neat. They're really a lot more robust than I ever thought it would be. So I use it a lot.
I use it constantly.
Yeah.
Very cool. I have a industrial version of one of those things. I love it. It's great. Let's grab another question. Thank you, Ice Master. Hopefully, folks can hear us. Cos Armor, who was in the chat, he wants to know. He's curious about our 250,000 sub project. Any update on when that will be? Well, we are very close. I'm checking how close we are right now. YouTube. Let's see. My internet is going there. Okay, we're at 248,709. We are about 1,300 subscribers away from hitting that milestone. And we probably won't be ready to launch it right when we hit 250, but we'll be close. I promise. The 100,000 one we did took me a while. But Jonah Lobe, who is one of my favorite artists who did tons of stuff from Skyrim, Fallout, all my favorite things from Skyrim, he did, working at Bethesda. I'm getting excited. I have to find a link. He is designing a sword for us. I contacted him and convinced him, and it's more of a... Hey gang, Bill here, just jumping right in. Sorry to end the podcast abruptly, but we were having some issues with Twitch, and the end of it got cut off and was not recorded, unfortunately. But I wanted to make sure to thank Beverly and Heather from Epoch Echo. They were awesome. We had a great time on the show. Of course, we'll have links to everything in the show notes that they are up to. You can go look them up on Facebook and Instagram, and especially YouTube. They've got some great tutorials over there, and look forward to a bunch of them coming out in the near future. So thank you so much for listening and watching, and thank you again to Epoch Echo for hanging out with us for the last hour or so. That's all I got for you today, and we will be back next week for another great episode of, what do we call this show? Prop Live Q&A? Yeah, that's it. Thanks again. See you next time.